A News 13 investigation has uncovered harmful levels of E. coli and fecal coliform in local rivers and streams.
And there's no warning system in place for people who swim or wade in the waterways.
News 13's Mike Mason joins us now live with tonight's reality check from Westfield Park in Fletcher. Mike.
Yeah, this park runs along a section of the French Broad River that is considered highly contaminated with fecal coliform and E. coli. Now, if you expose yourself to this water, you could be very sick, but how are you supposed to know about it? Over here, you'll see plenty of signs warning the public about certain things, but there's nothing telling people to stay out of the water. For some people, straight piping their sewage into a creek is an easy way to save money.
It's the cheapest form of septic removal.
And if they don't think anybody's looking or cares, then what's the motivation?
They don't think that this stream is going to take the pollution anywhere.
But these small streams flow into the French Broad, and so does that raw sewage.
Over 1 million people drink out of the French Broad River in one way or another.
Hartwell, Carson, and Kirby, Callaway are the French Broad Riverkeepers.
You're going to be paired with Bob. Bob's an expert. So
and work with the Western North Carolina Alliance, or WNCA.
Here we are, Westfield Park.
Each week, Callaway leads a group of volunteers to test our local streams and creeks.
We like to spread out and try to sample all the really small streams that probably Diener isn't going to be sampling.
Every 2 years, Diener is required to monitor about 25% of the French Broad. The rest is up to groups like WNCA. We went along as Callaway retested a small creek near Fletcher. She found high levels of E. coli there last year, but couldn't tell where it was coming from. Then just a few months ago, she flushed out the culprits.
We heard a pipe, like water gushing out, and so we went and we sampled the pipe directly. We were so lucky that we found it as they were gushing stuff out.
The residents were straight piping. Tests confirm extremely high levels of fecal coliform.
And it was about 15,000 E. coli per 100 milliliter sample.
That's 75 times higher than the state limit. The homeowners were cited. Results from new tests confirm E. coli levels are now back to normal. But many parts of the French Broad are still contaminated with harmful levels of fecal coliform, which comes from human and animal waste.
Swimming in the French Broad when it's high levels of bacteria can make people very sick.
The state has identified 54 sections of the French Broad that are impaired or highly contaminated. 14 of those have fecal coliform levels well above the state limit. Those sections include 8 miles of the French Broad River, along with several creeks and streams in Haywood, Madison, and Yancey counties that feed into it, all totaling more than 52 miles of rivers and creeks that are highly contaminated with E. coli. So how does the public avoid these pockets of pollution?
It's hard to know, and that's why the #1 question we get asked is my stream safe to swim?
Are they posted or what?
No, unfortunately they're not posted, and it's a great question because that is a job of the health department to post when areas are not safe to swim.
Have you talked to them?
I've asked them in specific instances in the past where you guys post warnings, and no one's ever been willing to do that.
So how does the public even know about this?
They don't, which is unfortunate.
Every 2 years, Diener's required to report which sections of the French Broad are polluted. But we found they haven't tested some of those areas since 1994. Officials say they have limited resources and only update their testing when they find the water quality in these areas has improved. And for the past 40 years, federal law has required states to study ways to address contamination. Records show Diener hasn't done that in many areas for years, although they tell us they're working on it.
Is the effort to figure out the solutions to why our streams are impaired. There's never been one done in Western North Carolina.
And Diener compiles data about contamination and sends that information to counties, but it's up to the counties to decide whether to post any signage. Now, Buncombe County's health director, Gibby Harris, said she didn't know about any of this contamination, let alone the fecal coliform. So we sent her the information we had, and within the past hour, she said she'll look into it and take the appropriate actions. In the French Broad River alone, there's more than 300 miles of contamination. The state has listed that on their impaired rivers list on a website. We have a link to that website by going to WLOS.com. Click on News Links. Reporting live in Fletcher, Mike Mason, News Center 13.